All right, guys. Hello and welcome back to the next episode of our F125 Konnersport MyTeam career mode is basically what we're going to be calling it here. The second episode of the series, episode 1, technically, because we started the first episode as episode 0, basically giving you guys the go around of what team and a little bit of an insight of what we have planned for the team here. Basically taking our MyTeam career mode ownership role into the shoes of Devin Butler and going from there. So basically we're leaving it off basically like F123's breaking point. We're midfield, set ourselves up as a midfield team, and we're looking for that championship. If we can't do it this season here in 2025, we will try to do it in the second season of 2026 when we have more than likely some regulation changes along the way. But without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and jump right into the race weekend. We're not going to include any of the practice or qualifying. I explained it in the episode, the previous episode, of why, basically for storyline purposes. But if you want a little bit more insight on that, you can check out the last episode for the preseason, pretty much, as we jump right into it. So we'll do the transition into the weekend, and then we'll see you guys for the main race, since we did complete all of our ownership tasks. So we'll see you guys for the race here in Australia. All right, here are our drivers coming in for the race weekend. Figured I might as well include this part, but that's about it, what we're going to include. It's been like this for my team career mode and driver career, where we can see ourselves, we can see our teammates. I don't think F124 had it to where we could see our teammate, but we're going to go ahead and lead into the weekend. So we'll see you guys during the race.
The winter is over. It's time for Formula One 2025. Yes, that long break that you've all been coping with so well can now be put to the back of your minds. It's on-track action and it's off-track drama. That's what we're looking forward to. The Melbourne circuit is certainly one that needs to be taken seriously. It's a combination of slippery surfaces and difficult corners, making it a very tricky track when it comes to overtaking. Drivers find it hard to pass and will need to take full advantage of those DRS zones if they want to have any hope of breaking through. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Piastri, Charles Leclerc and Mayer, Albon, Russell, Sainz and Andrea Kimi Antonelli, Stroll, Fernando Alonso, Pierre Gasly and Ocon, Behrman, Jackson, Gabriel Bortoleto and Liam Lawson, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Doohan and Isaac Hadjar rounds off the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. And joining me in the commentary box today with the best view on what is about to unfold and some strong views on the action we're about to see, Naomi Schiff.
First of all, this is such an exciting time. I mean, to have an 11th team on the grid is exciting news for the sport. But for them today, I guess you would be really nervous. It's the first time you're going to be doing this. There is so much to learn. But at the end of the day, they've got to remember that expectations aren't that high. They've all been there before. They've all had their first race, and no one is expecting them to land on the top of the podium. So just learn to walk before you can run.
So as the formation lap gets underway here for the first time this season, each driver will be wanting to make an impactful start to their season by earning those crucial points and getting a confidence booster right from the off. as all the cars take their positions on the grid, the teams will be hoping their strategies pay off for them in today's race. The question I'm asking is which teams have got it right, which ones have got it horribly wrong?
All right, guys, here we are at the front of the grid, pulling up to their grid slots. It has been about half a year, over half a year, since we've played an F1 game and done commentary on our races, so we're going to be all over the place. I can already tell as the last cars pulling up on the back of the grid, the Alpine and the RB there. Starting off, who we were driving as Callie Mayer, 5 red lights, are now off to start the 2025 season. We're off to a decent start here. Cars trying to unsettle behind us as we're side by side with Leclerc, and we're filing in through the first corner side by side with Piastri. They're trying to make a move, take as much of that inside corner as we can. So we're now moving to Leclerc, who's trying to put pressure on Verstappen, who made a move on Piastri. Piastri's there on the inside, and we're going to be making a lot of transitions here throughout the grid, trying to figure out our momentum that we have coming back into this game, as we're losing a bit of ground through sector 1, start of sector 2 under Callie Mayer. Russell close behind Mayer, Albon, Sainz, and Gasly to round out the end of our top 10 as we go through the grid. Not really any big breaks in the train so far, other than Leclerc 1.3 behind Verstappen already at this point. Alonso coming through the S's, and I've noticed while recording the highlight, or recording the replay, that the cars are highlighted, and then I realized that my game, I didn't optimize my game with my graphics card. I manually went in and changed my settings. I didn't optimize it with my graphics card because we are running a 4060 on this newer PC, as we have Bortoletto behind Jackson in P16, and the gap is starting to form here on the back end. About Lawson's just over half a second behind Tsunoda, as DRS is active on this lap. And you can see the train of cars here still as we are going through the start of start of lap 2. And like I said, we're gonna take a few episodes to get back into the groove of things here on F1 25. So we're back to the front of the pack. Hamilton leading Norris and Verstappen. Leclerc 1.3 behind. Another gap increasing between Piastri and Mayer there from P5 to P6, as Hamilton loses a position to Norris just before the high-speed chicane, I should say. It's been a while since the Australian Grand Prix at the start of the season for this year. But Leclerc, P4, 1.5 behind Verstappen. Piastri putting pressure on him behind as we move. If you guys haven't already noticed, we have a realistic T-Pod camera angle instead of our very cinematic one that we've used to have in the past few games, as the glaring on the cars is good, but it could be better. Transitioning to lap 3 now, at the end of lap 3. Bortoletto chasing down Jackson. 1.9 second gap between Tsunoda and Doohan, as we can see Piastri and Leclerc up ahead fighting for P4. And this is going to be actually the first DNF, as you can see Bortoletto, his steering wheel jerked there before that right-hander. It's going to be the first retirement of the season, as we see Hadjar passing him there on the third to last corner. And we're transitioning forward to Antonelli, who's trying to make a move on Gasly and Sainz, who are currently fighting for P9. So he's side by side with Sainz coming through turn 1, and he has the inside and a straighter line coming out of the corner to put the power down and try to make a move on Sainz and solidify that position. But Sainz is not giving in on those hard tires. He's really side by side with him throughout these few corners through the slower section, as he breaks away 3 seconds, and he loses about a second of time behind Gasly. I don't think he's going to get DRS this time around on lap 6, Well, lap 8, we're moving on to Jackson, who's making the move on Lance Stroll on the inside, actually, through the fast sector 2 before the high-speed chicane, and he holds on to that position. Now he's 7/10 behind Esteban Ocon, looking to try to get up into those points, because if you guys remember earlier in the episode, or in the preseason episode, we said Konnersport, where we set them up for this career mode, is basically where they left off in P5 and going from there. Moving to lap 9, we have Leclerc making a move on Callie Mayer, and you can see the gaps have formed 9 laps in, and the tire life is really settling in on these medium tires. Not only myself as Callie Mayer and Leclerc and Russell, all the other medium tire runners around us, you can really feel the tire wear in this game. And I'm not sure if that's because of my setup or if it's just in general. But we have Leclerc making a move on the outside of Mayer before the high-speed chicane, and Mayer doesn't really give in, but they eventually make a move, and up into P5 Leclerc goes, as Mayer has to back out through these final few corners, which Russell's right there on the fight. He's on the inside there trying to make another move. Possibly 2 positions lost from Konnersport's Callie Mayer, but she is not going to let that happen as we move on to the start of lap 10 with our drivers. You can see on board with Russell now. You could see the DRS train a little bit here as it's Russell, Mayer, Leclerc. Russell trying to make a move on the inside, and Mayer outbrakes him to hold on to that P6 position as we're getting pretty close to the pit stops. You saw the little back end come out from Mayer there before the transition, but we have Lando Norris trying to make a move on Verstappen. 8/10 is the gap. You see 4.3 from Hamilton, Piastri 2.2, 2.3, Leclerc 2.2, Russell, Mayer fighting for position here on the next lap, as we're looking to see who's going to be making the first pit stop. I saw it on the mini map, I just didn't know who it was, and that is who it is. It's going to be Lawson to be the first person to come in off of those hard tires. That's actually a really early stop on those hard tires. Looks like he's going to be committing to a 2-stop, going from hards to another set, a second set of hards to mediums more than likely. And it looks like we have another V card coming in, or somebody else was coming in for a pit stop. I'm not sure who it was, or that's just a cinematic issue that we have yet to figure out. But lap 13 now, as you can see, Lawson has made up at least 1 position, as we have Verstappen, the current race leader, 2.1 seconds ahead of Norris, coming in for a pit stop off of their medium tires. So it's going to be an overcut for Norris to try to make a move on Verstappen. It's Hamilton and Piastri pass through. The McLaren's looking strong, Ferrari looking strong. As Leclerc comes in, you can see the Mercedes of Russell and then Callie Mayer. They're still fighting their position, and you can see that front right tire on George Russell having issues, and it's going to be the same with Callie Mayer, the front right tire on her car onto the hard tires. Both cars had issues with their pit crews, but it's Callie Mayer getting out ahead of George Russell, who actually came in before them. So Callie Mayer ended up passing George Russell in the pits with that pit stop and those issues. As we're transitioning through the rest of the pit stops for this lap, you can see Behrman there in the background. As we move on to the next set of stops, lap 16 now, Norris and Piastri, 7.9 second gap as Piastri comes in. I believe Norris is playing the long game on those hard tires, and like I said a little bit ago, we didn't optimize our game until after this race, so those transitions will more than likely go away after this episode, so I do apologize about that. Albon coming into his stop, currently I think he was P4 when he first came in. Sainz hasn't come in yet. Decent stop for Albon coming out on those new mediums, coming through the grid. A lot of traffic ahead of him to see what can happen as he's coming out in P14 ahead of Hulkenberg. You can see him in the mirror as he tried to make a move, didn't have the room for it. As we can see on the bottom of our positions, Hajar went into the pits. Moving on to Jackson, trying to make a move on Hulkenberg. He has Sonoda right in the back of him as well. And I'm not sure what he was trying to do there. Trying to make a move on the outside. He moves trying to make a move on the inside of that high-speed corner. Takes a lot of curb on the outside here for that position against Hulkenberg. I'm not sure which one of them or if both of them have pit at all. That's going to be a little fight there between Jackson, Hulkenberg, and Sonoda. Here on lap 17, over halfway through this race, we're doing 50% races, and I'm feeling really good about it. Another issue there with the rendering of runs, as you can see on the screen for Aiden Jackson, that the rain is starting to come. You can see how white the clouds are as we're transitioning to Callie Mayer and Hamilton still fighting. Now, well, the fight was Hamilton higher up in the positions, but Leclerc is up there now, and now it's Mayer versus Hamilton. Russell is behind Hamilton, and you can see the rain on the screen and on the car, and I'm pretty sure you saw it earlier. I tried to comment about it earlier, but Callie Mayer's back end stepped out there coming out of turn 2, and it's basically a tire management game for the rest of this race. Lap 25 of 29, and it's looking very promising for a lot of teams here. Verstappen 9.5 seconds ahead of Norris, Leclerc, Piastri, Callie Mayer you could see ahead of Hamilton, who we are on board with. And DRS, I believe, is still, no, DRS is inactive, and who was that? That was Piastri with an engine failure. So that's going to be the second driver out of this race with an engine failure. I'm not sure if Bortoletto's was a mechanical or an engine. I think it was more of a mechanical issue than anything else. As you can see, Gasly on board, Albon on board, as we see the smoke from Piastri's car. That's going to be the end of their race, and that's really going to hurt McLaren for the start of this season, as that gives a lot of drivers free positions. Callie Mayer up in the P4, Hamilton, Russell, Gasly, Albon, Antonelli, and Jackson currently for the top 10, as we are on board with Sonoda, who has basically this lap and all of next lap to try to make a move up into the top 10. Callie Mayer, 11-second gap behind Leclerc, and that is Hamilton, who is in P5, trying to make a move. Russell is back there, almost making it 3 wide, but not enough. He backs out before the high-speed chicane. Callie Mayer doesn't back out. She brakes late, and that's going to be Hamilton and Russell side by side, giving Callie Mayer enough time to push that car here at the end. 9/10 is the gap for Hamilton behind Mayer. That's going to be Mayer P4, and surprisingly, Aiden Jackson P10, defending against Sonoda in the Red Bull, and that's looking to be a very promising start of the season. As you see the back end try to step out again, on board with Hamilton as we're coming across the line. You can see the rain is really falling now as the checkered flag waves. Russell P6, Gasly P7, Albon P8, Antonelli, and Jackson to round out our top 10. And that is going to be the end of the season opener here in Australia. That's going to be a decent amount of points for Konnersport for our team.
Checkered flag is out. We're going to be hearing that Dutch national anthem again, because it's victory for Max Verstappen.
To take the win at the first race of the season, now that is important. You get straight in to your competitor's head, and they now know that you are the one to beat.
And once all the hard work is over, and after lap of brilliant racing, it's time now to celebrate with our podium trio. And for those that have missed the Dutch national anthem, fear not. It's back again, because Max Verstappen is back on the top step. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
All right, there we have it. The season opener, Max Verstappen coming back with a win, the current four-time world champion, ahead of Lando Norris, starting in P3, finishing in first place. Callie Mayer, who we drove as, started in, I believe, 6th. We ended in 4th. And Aiden Jackson moving up to P10 from P16 after, I think it was a little bit of a weather play at the time of recording this, but both Konnersport drivers are in the points for the first race. Looking at the standings, Max Verstappen takes the lead, and our top 10 is the starting point for the season. So we move over to constructor standings. Red Bull and Ferrari tied with their placements. McLaren P3, Konnersport P4 with 13 points, ahead of Mercedes at 10, Alpine and Williams, the top 7 teams out of the 11 scoring points in the home opener as we wrap it up. And we'll see you guys in the next one.